Now, whenever I talk about the polls, I try to preface it with a little bit of a reality check. Let's just clear out the cobwebs about polls. Let's clear the air. Let's speak in a way so people get it. The polls that they are doing right now, very rarely do they talk to everyone. In fact, they never talk to everyone. That's why it's called a poll. It's called a sample size. They take 300 people, they talk to them, they ask them some questions about a defined list of people, and you get to choose from that defined list of people. Those people who make those choices then become the features in their poll. So polls are only as good or only as far-reaching or reliable as the people that are polled. What are you getting at, Tim? Make it simple and plain. Okay, I will, Johnson. These polls that you've been looking at don't include anybody except likely voters from the Democratic Party. They don't include Republicans, independents, or people who are disaffected who usually don't vote. It doesn't include new voters. It doesn't include people who didn't vote last time. It includes only people who voted before, and then only a very, 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 very tiny sample of that. I try to make this clear to some people that I've had disagreements with. They don't want to hear it because to them, the polls are everything, particularly when they say what they want them to say. But that's the reality of polls. So let's recap. Polls are only as good as the sample, only as good as the people that you poll. And the polls that you've been hearing from Morning Consult to CNN's polls to anybody's polls you've been checking out, they have been usually, typically, unless otherwise stated, they are from likely Democratic voters, not from independents, which certain candidates do very well with independents, such as Bernie Sanders, which also happens to be the largest voting bloc in America. And it doesn't include new voters, which some candidates do better with, such as Bernie Sanders with younger voters, and disaffected voters who didn't vote last time because they were so pissed about their options.
And analyst Harry Enton joins us with these new Battleground poll numbers. What do you see, Harry?
Yeah, so I think it's very interesting what we see. So let's just give you a kind of reminder of this, set the stage here. So remember, in the 2016 presidential campaign, what do we see? We saw nationwide Hillary Clinton beating Donald Trump 48-46. But in the 6 closest states that Trump won that helped determine the Electoral College, Arizona, Florida, Michigan, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Trump won by a point. So let's take a look at these new Battleground polls and compare them to what we're seeing nationally. And we see a trend line here that is consistent with what happened in 2016. So nationwide, if you take a look at the average poll for 2020 from October, we see Biden up by 8, Sanders up by 6, Warren up by 5. But take a look at these 6 closest states, again, that Trump won in 2016, according to new polls from the New York Times Siena College. If you average across the 6, what do we see? We see Biden +1. We see Sanders actually losing to Trump by 1. And we see Warren trailing at Trump by 3 points. The president is leading Warren in those 6 battleground states by 3 points. Let's break it down a little bit further in terms of those battleground states particularly. So I've broken them down into the northern battlegrounds and the southern battlegrounds. What do we see in the northern battlegrounds? So in Michigan, which of course is a very key state, we see Biden up by 1, we see Sanders leading by 3, but we see Donald Trump beating Elizabeth Warren by 4 percentage points. That's a big difference between those different candidates. What about in Pennsylvania? Obviously, Scranton Joe, Normal Joe, all that stuff. Joe Biden leading in Pennsylvania by 1 point over Donald Trump. Sanders, though, trailing by a point. What do we see Elizabeth Warren? We see Elizabeth Warren trailing Donald Trump by 2 points. How about in Wisconsin, another key state? Remember, Hillary Clinton didn't visit Wisconsin. What do we see? We see Joe Biden up by 2 points in Wisconsin over Donald Trump. We see a tie with Bernie Sanders, but Warren, again, trailing by 2 percentage points. So this is something consistent where Warren is running behind Joe Biden.
Wow. Elizabeth Warren not doing so good in these projected polls, is she? Nah, it seems like she's behind Trump in like every category. Now, I want to keep your feet on the ground here with this reality. It's not as if the Democratic Party cares much about polls unless they say, once again, what they want them to say, because in 2016, the polls were telling them that Sanders had a much better chance against Donald Trump And still, the superdelegates, such as Amy Klobuchar, Senator Franken, and many others, even if their state voted for Bernie Sanders, they threw all their superdelegates behind Hillary Clinton. They did not care that the polls said that Bernie stood a better chance. It did not matter to them. What mattered to them most was that they backed Hillary, that they backed the status quo. And then you got Trump. And then you got Jill Stein blamed. And I'll notice they never blamed really Gary Johnson. Gary Johnson got more votes than Hillary. I'm sorry. Gary Johnson got more votes than Jill Stein, but you never hear about the fact that Gary Johnson took away votes. It's always about Jill Stein. Well, anyway, the other thing about these polls that they're showing now, even though they look favorable if you are a Biden or Bernie Sanders supporter, is that polls change. Yeah, like right now, this very second, people may feel a certain way about Joe Biden, but give it a week. Yeah, give him a week to talk. Give him a week to go out there and say something stupid, swallow his tongue, have his eye pop out on stage, and this could all change because polls are nothing but snapshots in time, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing more. It's how you feel right at that moment. You come back the next day, you read an article, somebody on the bus stops you, somebody at the lunch counter, somebody at the coffee machine, anything, and they tell you something, and all of a sudden, you're not so sure anymore. Not to mention all the money they're going to dump into ads, all the stuff that's going to go on. We got some debates coming up. Guys, we're a year away from who's going to be president, and we're 3 months away from Iowa. That's a lot of time. Some would say almost an eternity. Hell, think it was Ronald Reagan who hadn't even entered the race until like next week, back when he won his first term. I mean, that's how early it is. He wasn't even in the race until now. He just started and he won. Not only did he win his primary, he won the general election as well. So everything is with a grain of salt. But, of course, we talk about them because they're there, and it gives us something to talk about. I don't know if it means a whole hell of a lot, though. There was a Fox poll from July, the last high-quality national poll to show anything but a Warren lead, and most recent polls have shown a narrowing of how the three leading Democratic candidates run against Trump. A CNN poll had Biden 10 points, Sanders 9 points, and Warren at 8 points. They're all right there. Right there. What would it mean? Also, who has the confidence to go up against Trump? Who are people going to feel is going to do better arguing against Donald Trump? That's what it's going to come down to as well. Now, one of the reasons why Joe Biden's name is in this and why people are so, stuck on Biden is it seems like black folks are stuck on Biden as well. Yeah, see, there's a rule in the black community. Listen to other black people. For some reason, a lot of us think that other black people got our best interests at heart, even if they are establishment creatures who really have the best interests of the establishment and are getting paid to say stuff. See, when you listen to people that aren't getting paid to say stuff, they probably tell you more reliable stuff. But I digress. One of those people that they talk a lot about and they try to pump you up about is Joe Biden. Now, I was looking at an op-ed published in Ebony magazine, which has a very large black readership. And I hope that I have this. Let me see if I have this, guys. Because I would want you to see this for yourself, if I can find it. I just realized I didn't put this in. I want to read it to you, but you won't believe it unless you see it, I think. Let's see. It's really that bad, guys. Here we go. I found it. This is the title of the article in Ebony magazine. Yeah. Joe Biden is the ally, the champion, and fighter we need in 2020. The first black woman elected to the U.S. Senate explained why she supports the former vice president in the next presidential election. Former U.S. Senator and Ambassador Carol Mosley Braun. Yipper. Yes, sir. See what they do? Now, you can't tell me that Miss Mosley Braun, the first black female senator, trendsetter, icon, you can't tell me that she was chomping at the bit to write this horribly biased rewrite of history about Joe Biden, where in this op-ed, she only names all these good things about Joe Biden that really were kind of anecdotal, not so much about him, turning around the disintegration of the black community or the black family, or somehow rebounding black folks who lost all their wealth, or somehow undoing the horrible crime bill that he inked, or the horrible trade bills that he inked. But it was just anecdotal stuff like, hey, when I was going to the Senate, when I was new to the Senate, Joe Biden was a really nice guy. He was really nice. He took me out and we had cherry pie. What the hell that got to do with Joe Biden being president, man? Or woman? But see, the idea is that if Joe's a nice guy and he was nice to this black woman, that means he cares about all black people. And it doesn't, Johnson. It doesn't even mean Joe Biden cares about anybody except Joe Biden. I'm sure Joe Biden had a reason to do whatever Joe Biden did. The point about this op-ed by this amazing, trend-setting, iconic woman. In fact, when I interviewed Marianne Williamson, who's a presidential candidate here, you may know her. When I interviewed Marianne Williamson and she spoke favorably about a conversation she had with this very lady, Miss Braun. She's relating to me how amazing it was to talk to her, and she gave her advice on running and all this great stuff. Because she is revered. Miss Mosley Braun is revered, and rightly so, for being the first black senator and ambassador. I don't know if she's the first black female ambassador, but a very prestigious position. Marked in history, will be forever remembered. But the bottom line is this. We make our own mind up about our candidates. What we need are more independent media that black people trust, because black people have a legacy of being lied to by white people. I know people don't like hearing that, but it's true, man. How else do you explain James Crow, in the new Jim Crow? How you explain it? 40 Acres and a Mule, the whole thing. So it's important that independent media set the record straight, and we tell the truth about Joe Biden. Joe Biden, among all the other things about Joe Biden, the most important thing that black voters need to know about Joe is that he's paid for. He's sold out. And he won't just sell out black people. He'll sell out white people, Asians, Latinos, and Native Americans in no particular order. In fact, Joe spent most of his time selling out white people, poor white people, when he was sending their jobs overseas, when he was taking money from Wall Street, and selling out people he never would meet, like people in Iraq, for instance, who he wanted to bomb. People in Yemen, who he wanted to bomb. I mean, everything that Obama did wrong, Biden was right there for it, going, my guy Barack, my buddy Barack. So he takes bows with Obama, but he doesn't want to take the fall with Obama. Did you enjoy that content? I know you did. You got great taste, Johnson. What can I say? Become a member of the Tim Black Wolf Pack today right here on YouTube, or go to patreon.com, Tim's Take Live, and you'll get free stuff, special stuff, secret stuff. Do it today. Wolf Pack.